Japan is one of the world's most advanced industrial economies, yet it shares a critical vulnerability with far poorer nations. It lacks domestic energy. Nearly every barrel of oil, every shipment of natural gas, and every strategic fuel input must cross oceans before reaching Japanese industry and households. For decades, this dependence was managed through price and efficiency. Today, that logic no longer holds. Energy security has become inseparable from economic stability, industrial resilience, and national planning. In this environment, Japan is no longer asking who can sell energy cheaply, but who can supply it reliably for decades. And that question has led Tokyo, quietly but deliberately, to Canada. Welcome to GeoCapitalist, where we examine the strategic decisions and long-term alliances shaping global power beyond the headlines. In today's analysis, why Japan chose Canada for its long-term energy security, we look at the deeper forces driving this partnership and what it reveals about how major economies now think about energy, stability, and trust. If this kind of geopolitical analysis adds clarity, consider subscribing. Japan's energy reality is defined by structural constraints rather than policy preference. The country possesses minimal domestic fossil fuel reserves, limited space for large-scale energy extraction, and an industrial base that depends on uninterrupted power flows. As a result, Japan imports nearly all of its oil, natural gas, and coal, making it highly exposed to global supply disruptions, shipping bottlenecks, and geopolitical volatility. While efficiency and diversification helped manage this exposure in the past, recent years have demonstrated the limits of those strategies. Energy price spikes, logistical disruptions, and growing competition for supply have shown that availability matters more than marginal cost savings. For Japan, energy insecurity is not an abstract concern, but a direct risk to manufacturing output, export competitiveness, and social stability. This reality has pushed policymakers and industry leaders to rethink energy procurement as a long-term strategic question rather than a transactional one. Stability, predictability, and reliability now outweigh short-term price advantages. In this context, the search for energy partners has become inseparable from broader questions of governance, trust, and long-term alignment. Energy security has evolved from a technical issue into a core pillar of national strategy. For Japan, reliable energy supply underpins everything from automotive manufacturing and electronics production to shipping, construction, and food logistics. Any prolonged disruption reverberates across the entire economy. As global supply chains become more complex and geopolitical competition intensifies, energy can no longer be treated as a commodity sourced purely through markets. Instead, it is increasingly managed through long-term planning, diplomatic alignment, and infrastructure investment. This shift reflects a broader realization among advanced economies that energy stability is inseparable from economic resilience. Volatile supply conditions introduce uncertainty that discourages investment and weakens industrial planning. For Japan, securing energy over decades allows companies to make capital commitments with confidence and governments to plan infrastructure without constant crisis management. Energy security has therefore become a structural concern embedded in national development strategies rather than reactive policy responses. This perspective naturally favors partners capable of offering continuity, governance stability, and credible long-term supply frameworks. Canada stands out in Japan's energy calculations because it combines scale with reliability. It possesses vast natural resource reserves, including natural gas, supported by a stable political system and a transparent regulatory environment. Unlike many resource-rich regions, Canada offers consistency in policy direction, contract enforcement, and environmental oversight. This matters deeply for long-term energy security planning. Japan's approach prioritizes suppliers that can deliver not just energy, but confidence over time. Canada's energy strategy aligns with this need by emphasizing infrastructure investment, regulatory predictability, and long-term development rather than rapid extraction cycles. The country's position as a stable democracy further reinforces trust, reducing political risk premiums that often accompany energy deals elsewhere. For Japanese planners, Canada represents a low-risk partner capable of integrating energy supply into broader strategic alliances. This combination of resource abundance and institutional credibility makes Canada uniquely attractive as part of a long-term energy security framework. Liquefied natural gas plays a central role in how Canada fits into Japan's long-term energy design. LNG offers flexibility, cleaner combustion relative to other fossil fuels, and compatibility with Japan's existing import infrastructure. Canada's Pacific coast provides a geographically efficient route to Asian markets, reducing transit risks and diversifying supply corridors. Beyond fuel itself, Japan's interest extends to the infrastructure that supports reliable delivery, including terminals, shipping logistics, and long-term investment frameworks. Infrastructure investment transforms energy trade into a durable system rather than a series of spot transactions. For Japan, integrating Canadian LNG into its supply chains enhances resilience by spreading risk across stable regions. This approach reflects a broader shift toward designing energy systems that can absorb shocks without systemic disruption. Canada's ability to support such infrastructure-driven partnerships strengthens its role as a cornerstone of Japan's long-term energy security strategy. Trust has become a decisive factor in energy partnerships. Japan increasingly prioritizes suppliers that share similar governance standards, legal transparency, and strategic outlooks. Energy deals are no longer isolated commercial agreements, but components of broader strategic alliances. Stable democracies with predictable policy environments reduce uncertainty over contract longevity and regulatory change. Canada fits naturally into this framework. Its alignment with international norms, commitment to rule-based governance, and history of reliable trade relationships make it a partner Japan can plan around decades in advance. This emphasis on trust reflects an understanding that energy security cannot be separated from political stability. Reliable energy supply requires confidence that agreements will endure across election cycles and economic fluctuations. By embedding energy cooperation within trusted alliances, Japan reduces exposure to sudden disruptions and policy reversals that could undermine long-term planning. Japan's turn toward Canada does not represent rejection of other suppliers, but a recalibration of priorities. Different energy exporting regions offer varying advantages, including cost competitiveness or rapid scalability. However, these benefits often come with higher political, regulatory, or logistical risks. Canada's approach emphasizes measured development, institutional stability, and long-term planning over speed. For Japan, this trade-off favors reliability over volatility. The comparison highlights differing models of energy supply rather than competition between nations. Canada's consistency contrasts with environments where policy shifts, infrastructure constraints, or geopolitical tensions introduce uncertainty. By diversifying toward partners like Canada, Japan balances its energy portfolio to reduce systemic risk. This strategy reflects a mature understanding that resilience comes from stability and diversification, not dependence on any single source or model. The long-term beneficiaries of this partnership extend beyond governments. Japanese industries gain predictable energy inputs that support stable production and long-term investment planning. Canadian energy producers benefit from reliable demand and long-horizon partnerships that justify infrastructure development. Infrastructure builders, logistics providers, and regional economies on both sides gain from sustained capital flows. More broadly, stable energy relationships contribute to regional and global economic stability by reducing the likelihood of sudden supply shocks. These benefits accumulate gradually rather than appearing as immediate gains, reinforcing the value of long-term planning. By aligning energy security with strategic cooperation, both countries create conditions that support steady growth rather than cyclical volatility. This approach favors resilience and predictability over short-term optimization, reflecting a shared long-term perspective. Looking ahead 5 to 10 years, Japan's choice signals a broader shift in how major economies approach energy security. The focus is moving away from transactional sourcing toward integrated long-term partnerships grounded in trust and infrastructure. Canada's role illustrates how stable governance and strategic alignment can elevate a country's position in global energy systems. For Japan, this strategy reduces vulnerability and enhances planning certainty in an increasingly unpredictable world. More broadly, it suggests that future energy security will be shaped as much by institutional reliability as by resource availability. Countries capable of offering both will occupy a privileged position in the evolving global energy landscape. Japan's decision to align more closely with Canada reflects a quiet but significant shift in global energy strategy. Long-term security, trust, and stability now matter more than short-term advantage. Understanding these choices helps clarify how power and resilience are built over time. For more analysis on the forces shaping tomorrow's geopolitical map, continue with the next GeoCapitalist breakdown. See you in the next video.